Hello students, in this part we'll be studying about magnetic force acting on a charge moving in the external magnetic field, that is Lorentz force, then magnetic force acting on a current carrying wire, and the force between two long parallel current carrying wires. To study the magnetic force acting on a charge, let us consider a charge Q moving with velocity v bar in the external magnetic field b bar. It experiences the force due to magnetic field as Fm bar is equal to Q v bar cross b bar. This is the very basic equation to study the magnetic force on a moving charge. Along with the magnetic field, if the charge is also under the action of electric field, then it will experience the force due to electric field as Fe bar is equal to Qe bar, and hence the net force acting on the charged particle will be F bar is equal to Fe bar plus Fm bar, that is Qe bar plus Q v bar cross b bar. This equation 10.4 is known as Lorentz force. Let us study few interesting facts about Lorentz force. First, if the velocity of the charged particle is parallel to the field, that is the angle between v bar and b bar is 0. In that case, cross product of v bar and b bar will be 0, and hence the charge will not experience any magnetic force. Second, if the charge is stationary, that is V is equal to 0. In that case also the magnetic force will be 0, even if the magnetic field is non-zero. Third, let us compare the force due to electric field and the force due to magnetic field. As we know, the force due to electric field depends on the strength of the electric field and the magnitude of the charge. However, the force due to magnetic field depends on the velocity of the charge and the cross product of v bar and b bar. Further, the vectors v bar and the force due to magnetic field, that is Fm bar, are perpendicular to each other, as Fm bar has a direction perpendicular to the plane containing v bar and b bar. Therefore, the dot product F bar dot v bar will be 0. That is, the magnetic force will always be perpendicular to the displacement, and hence the magnetic force never does any work on the moving charge. Another interesting fact is that the magnetic force may change the direction of the charged particle, but it can never affect the speed of the charged particle. Further, if the charge is moving perpendicular to the magnetic field, that is, if v bar and b bar are perpendicular to each other, the cross product of v bar and b bar will be equal to 1, and hence the magnetic force F will be QVB. This fact can be used to define the strength of the magnetic field. A strength of magnetic field will be unity if a charge of 1 coulomb moving with a speed of 1 meter per second perpendicular to the field experiences a force of 1 Newton. That is, B is equal to F upon QV implies that B will be equal to 1 if F is equal to 1 Newton for a charge of 1 coulomb moving with a speed of 1 meter per second perpendicular to the field. After defining the magnetic field of unit strength, we can also write its SI unit as Newton second per coulomb meter. In honor of scientist Tesla, it is given the special name as Tesla. This is the SI unit of magnetic field B. You can even write the dimensions of B from this relation. To study the magnetic force acting on a current carrying conductor, consider a straight wire subjected to external magnetic field B bar acting perpendicular to its length, coming out of the plane of the paper as shown in the figure. Let a current I is flowing through the wire under the applied potential difference. If Vd bar is the drift velocity of conduction electrons so that they cover the length L of the wire within time interval t, then the total charge flown through the plane P' within time t will be Q is equal to IT. That t in turn is equal to the length covered upon the drift velocity, hence Q is equal to IL upon Vd. The magnetic force acting on this charge will be given by Fm bar is equal to Q Vd bar cross B bar. Substituting the value of Q in this equation, we get Fm bar is equal to IL upon Vd B Vd sin theta n cap, where n cap is a unit vector perpendicular to both B bar and Vd bar. The same expression further can be written as Fm bar is equal to I L bar cross B bar, where L bar is a vector which has the magnitude equal to the length of the conductor and has the direction same as that of drift velocity. If the conductor is kept perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field, theta will be 90 degree and hence F will be ILB n cap. To determine the magnetic force acting on a current carrying conductor of any arbitrary shape, we consider the wire to be divided into number of small elements of length dl. Then we find out the differential force acting on every such element as dFm bar is equal to I dl bar cross B bar. Then the net force acting on the wire as a whole can be found out by integration as Fm bar is equal to integral dFm bar is equal to I times integral dl bar cross B bar. If the field is uniform, that B bar can be taken outside the integral sign and then the net force is given by Fm bar is equal to I times integral dl bar cross B bar. This discussion can be further extended to determine the magnetic force acting on a closed circuit, where the net force will be given by integral I dl bar cross B bar, where the line integral is taken for the closed loop. If the field is uniform, again it can be taken outside the integral sign, and as we know the line integral for a closed loop is 0, therefore the magnetic force acting on a closed loop in uniform field will be 0. Now let us find out the direction of the magnetic force acting on a current carrying conductor, which is given by the right hand rule. The rule states that if the pointing finger of the right hand shows the direction of the current, the middle finger shows the direction of the magnetic field, then the outstretched thumb gives the direction of the force acting on that conductor. As we know, a current carrying straight wire produces a magnetic field around it given by B is equal to mu 0 I upon 2 pi r. Also, a straight wire kept in the external magnetic field acting perpendicular to its length experiences a force F is equal to ILB. Let us see the combined effect of these two facts. When two long current carrying wires are kept parallel to each other, each wire produces its own magnetic field around it and as if the other wire is kept in that field. Hence, both the wires experience a force. Let us determine this force. Consider two wires carrying currents I1 and I2 kept distance d apart parallel to each other as shown in the figure. The magnetic field produced by the wire 1, which is carrying current I1, is given by B1 is equal to mu 0 I1 upon 2 pi d. The direction of this field is perpendicular to the plane of the paper and inwards. The second wire is subjected to this field and hence will experience a force given by F is equal to I2 mu 0 I1 upon 2 pi d integral dl, where this integration will be over the entire length of the second wire. The direction of this force is towards the wire 1. For infinitely long wires, this force will be infinite. Hence, we talk in terms of force per unit length as F is equal to mu 0 I1 I2 upon 2 pi d. The same discussion can be applied for the wire 1, which is subjected to the magnetic field produced by the wire 2, and it will also experience the force of the same magnitude but directed towards the wire 2. Thus, both these wires, they exert a force of magnitude mu 0 I1 I2 upon 2 pi d per unit length on each other, and if they are carrying current in the same direction, the force will be of attraction type. If the wires are carrying currents in opposite direction, then the direction of forces also will be reversed. The magnitude still remains the same. In short, we can say that parallel currents attract each other, whereas anti-parallel currents repel each other. The magnitude of the force acting per unit length is given by mu 0 I1 I2 upon 2 pi d. This fact can be used to define a current of 1 ampere. As F upon L is equal to mu 0 I1 I2 upon 2 pi d, if I1 and I2 both are 1 ampere and the distance of separation is 1 meter, also we know that mu 0 upon 4 pi is equal to 10 raised to minus 7 Weber per meter. Then the force acting per unit length gives the value 2 into 10 raised to minus 7 Newton per meter. Hence, we can say that two parallel conducting wires having infinite length separated by a distance 1 meter, if exert a force of magnitude 2 into 10 raised to minus 7 Newton per meter, then the current flowing through each of them is 1 ampere.